Hey y'all, I know I look hideous, and I know this is not a good video to wake up my YouTube channel, but I think my Facebook friends and my family are a little exhausted of hearing my grief over the idea that this week I need to say goodbye to my pumpkin. Sorry, lots of glare. Anyway, if you know me, if you follow my channel at all, you'll know that. And if you don't, I'll make a short story long as I usually do. Almost 10 years ago, my husband and I moved from Texas to Iowa. Iowa being my childhood home. My family's still here. And we had done pet rescue in Texas. We fostered over 220 dogs and dozens of donkeys on our acreage. And I lost my first dog, who was mine, when we were still in Texas. I lost Mijo. And when we moved to Iowa, almost 10 years ago, we had 6 dogs that were failed fosters. Basically, all but one of them, 2 of them, we had taken in with the intention of adopting out. And we couldn't. We couldn't let them go. I think Pumpkin was probably the 3rd foster out of those 220 plus that we fostered, and she was my first failed foster. Took her in about 14 years ago, and she was a year to a year and a half old. She was at a high kill shelter, and she was petrified. She's a tiny poodle mix, and she had never been groomed. She was scared. And it took a long time to get her to come around and accept that people could actually be nice to her. And even after she gave in and let Bubba love her and got along pretty well with the rest of the dogs, she still was terribly shy and bashful and hid from any other people. Even if I was holding her, when other people came near, she would turn away and refuse to look at them. So we moved to Iowa with the 6 dogs. And since then, well, 2 of the dogs passed away before Bubba did. And I handled it well, I think, because when you have 6, you have a lot of love to give, and they each get a share. And then my husband died. And I still had 4 dogs. Our tie, our connection to the life that we shared. And then his dog naturally was the next to go. She mourned my husband, and I don't remember how long she made it. A year or better, probably. And then Chicky died. And then Frodo got sick, and it was Cushing's, we think, to where he was still, awake and alert, not disabled that way, but he couldn't control his bladder and his fight or flight response. was wicked. He actually snapped at a boy one time in my house before I knew he was sick. And it got to the point where he would snap at me and he wouldn't let me pick him up. And then he would lay there and give me these eyes like, I can't help it, Mom. So I had to let Frodo go too. Sorry. I had 2 dogs. And after my husband died, I brought home a bird. And then another bird. And then more birds. And I'm sure you can hear them in the background. I currently have 5 budgies and 2 cockatiels. But they're not dogs. And they didn't know Bubba. And then Annie, number 5. Well, number 6, counting Mio. They were all just about the same age. Annie's health failed. And she passed away. And it was all right. I handled it okay. So, since I adopted Pumpkin, she has caught my tears when Miho and Miha and Gabby and my husband Bubba and Chicky and Frodo and Annie died. And now it's just Pumpkin and I and these birds and some fish. Anyway, Pumpkin is 15 years old and she has congestive heart failure. And she has been hacking and honking and crying because it's bad. She's always had bad hips and knees, and her eyes are getting cloudy and her hearing is almost gone. But now that the heart failure is really making her uncomfortable and hurting her when she coughs and when she's not as mobile, it's very difficult for her now to even get up the ramp and onto the sofa. I had to make the decision this time for her to go because I don't want her to hurt. I think it's just the fact that she has caught my tears when my husband died and when my 6 other dogs died. I always had that sweet little Pumpkin there to catch my tears and make me feel better. And now I'm going to bury my tears with her. It's just, I don't know, I feel like I'm burying that part of my life all over again, like I did when Bubba died. It was like, my life would never be the same. It was no longer we and us. It was I. And, but I was still dog lady. And, I've pretty much given up the gardening that he and I did together. I gave up the rate of sales that he and I did together. I've pretty much given up everything that I did with him other than our greatest passion together was our faith. Our second greatest passion, our animals. Our love for one another. So, another phase ending and trying to see what what the future holds is difficult. I know there are so many things to look forward to. I know that I have a world filled with incredible people who love me. I know that. And I know the Lord loves me. And, He'll keep me here as long as He wants. And I would never consider hurting myself, but I do look forward to the day when He returns. I do. Eternity in the presence of our Lord. No pain, no suffering, no trial, no sadness. That will be glorious. But until then, we have to deal with things like this. And I guess today I'm thankful for a platform where I can put things like this out there, not knowing who might see it. Maybe nobody. But for now, I think it needs to be my counselor again. It was in the past. YouTube was a good counselor for me for a while. So we're going to try that again. Hopefully I'll find some interesting content that, I always focused on faith, food, and fiber. I'm still excited about faith, food, and fiber, but the faith and the fiber are still strong. I'm not gardening anymore, but I may be working on a cottage garden, working on some flowers. That might be fun. So, thank you for your patience, and if you've taken the time to listen to any of this incredible, blubbering pity party, it's made me feel better. And I thank you so much. And may the good Lord bless you today and every day, as He has me and will for the rest of my life. Amen.